Welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about the 400th Infantry Regiment of the 89th Infantry Division, or vice versa. They are a premium rank 5 squad for the USSR in enlisted. They carry the belt-fed DP, and per their description they were initially formed in the 14th of December 1941 in Yerevan as the 474th Rifle Division. They took part in the Battle for the Caucasus, the Kerch-Eltgen landing operations, and the Crimean offensive operations, and since 45, they've been participating in the Battle of Berlin. So, what are you getting with these guys? What makes them special? Well, they are a machine gun team. They have a lot of the same benefits that the MG42 early squad has, and if you want to know about those, I put out a video recently about it, and you can reference that. They are different than them though. They only have one engineer, but they are still a 5-man squad, and they all carry light machine guns, which is very good, and it protects them from power creep and power scaling in the game. So let's get into their gun itself, since that probably is going to be the main draw to them. So the belt-fed DP is a belt-fed light machine gun. It fires the 7.62 cartridge for a hit power of 13.2 at 10 meters, 11.9 at 100 meters, and it fires at 610 rounds a minute with a reload of 3.2 seconds, vertical and horizontal of 41 and 17. With a 100-round magazine, it fires full auto only, and it weighs 9 kilos. So, all in all, you're getting a pretty decent gun, but this is more of a heavy light machine gun. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but what I mean is there are some light machine guns that feel more lightweight and mobile. Think like a bar or a DP, or I guess the RD-44. And then there are others like the Maxim Tokarev that feel very heavy and more sedentary. And generally speaking, I think the belt-fed DP fits more into that second category. Kind of like a lot of the German machine guns, like the MG42, the MG34, the MG15, where they're a bit heavier, they're a bit more cumbersome, they can be used to push, but generally speaking, they find themselves very content and very at home in a position where you don't have to move a whole lot. So, looking at the belt-fed DP, its nearest competitors in the Soviet tech tree are going to be the RD-44, which is phenomenal, and the Maxim Tokarev. You could make an argument for competing with the DT-29, and the DT-29 is a very good gun, but I think the DT-29 is pretty outclassed at this point by the RD-44 and the Maxim Tokarev. Well, by the RD-44, I don't know about the Maxim Tokarev, but it's not a bad gun, it's usable, but I'm primarily going to compare it to the other two. And basically, if we look at the Maxim Tokarev, it is a pretty hefty, pretty chonky machine gun. Now this one isn't fully maxed out, so, bear that in mind, but it also has a 100-round magazine. However, it reloads in 6.5 seconds, which is almost double. It shoots at 600 rounds a minute, but that's before you fully upgrade it, so it probably shoots closer to 660. So it should shoot a little bit faster. The vertical recoil is very low at 14, the horizontal's kinda high at 25. And it also only fires full auto, but the real kicker is that it weighs 15.5 kilos. Which is quite a bit heavier than the DP. So, you do gain fire rate. I don't really care for the Maxim Tokarev personally. I put out a video, I think back in December, that was comparing it to the RD-44 when it first came out. And it's a perfectly usable gun if you get yourself into a defensive posture where you can kind of just sit there and deploy it. And you can push objectives hip firing with it. The problem that I really run into with it is that it's so big and it's so heavy and the reload takes so long that it's a very uncomfortable gun to use. With horizontal recoil reduction, it still kind of shoots all over the place. So there's that too. Generally speaking, I think the belt-fed DP does what it does better. Now, the belt-fed DP does have significantly higher vertical recoil, but vertical recoil being a single axis of recoil is really easy to deal with because you just pull the mouse down or you pull your thumbstick down, and now the gun doesn't climb nearly as much, especially because the fire rate's really comfortable at 610 rounds a minute. When you use something like the Maxim Tokarev, though, which it has a lot at 25 horizontal recoil, so that's 8 points higher than this gun. You can't just hold left or hold right, because with horizontal recoil, the gun's going to swing left and it's going to swing right. So a lot of the time, you'll see patterns with your gun where it'll start moving in like circles or spirals. This gun being 9 kilos, so 6.5 kilos lighter, having a 3.2 second reload time, having 17 horizontal recoil, I think it basically fills the same role, or the same niche that the Maxim Tokarev was trying to fill, and I think it does it better. Because this is so much lighter, you can be more mobile with it, and because of its quick reload time, you can actually do a lot of damage in relatively close quarters. So then if we look at the RD-44, mind you, this is also not a fully upgraded weapon, but if we look at the RD-44, it's doing 9 damage at 10 meters, 7.2 at 100. It's firing at 750 rounds per minute. The reload time is 6 seconds. It's 3113 for its recoil, 100 round drum, fully auto, 7.4 for its weight. So the RD-44 I think is the best competition to the DP. The RD-44 is going to do less damage. It's going to shoot faster by about 140 rounds a minute. The reload time is, again, almost double, but it fully upgraded should be a little bit lower. It should get down to like 5.5, somewhere in that range. So the DP is still reloading at 3.2 seconds, which is still a lot faster, but you're picking up 4 more points of horizontal recoil, and you're picking up, I think, another like 10 points or so of vertical recoil. So you're going to get better handling on the RD-44. And being that it's about 2 pounds lighter, or not 2 pounds, 2 kilos lighter, or 1.5 to 2 kilos lighter, you're going to feel more mobile with it. So I think that the RD-44 is probably still the gold standard for Soviet top machine guns. I think it's an excellent gun. That being said, I think the DP complements it very nicely. If you put the RD-44 on your assault squads, or if you use it with, say, the premium paratroopers, I think it fills that role very, very well, being an in-your-face, mobile, aggressive light machine gun. But, by comparison, if you want a more defensive-focused squad, having 5 guys with belt-fed DPs is tremendously powerful. They're going to do very, very well at holding a position. Now, the same caveats that I discussed in the MG42 early video also carry here about premium squad hierarchy and whatnot. So if you're trying to get the best bang for your buck in this tech tree, I think that you get the premium paratroopers for Russia. I think that they're going to do a fantastic job. They're more versatile. They can show up anywhere within a few seconds. They get DT-29s as they're on their assault squad, which it is what it is. The free ones get the RD-44, which is phenomenal. The two squads actually work really nicely together. But if you're only going to pick up one premium squad, the paratroopers are going to rank first. That being said, if you're going to look at picking up a second squad, or for whatever reason you wanted a machine gun squad, I think the belt-fed DP is probably the second best premium infantry squad in the Soviet tech tree. To briefly go over kind of what I discussed the other day, the value that you're going to find in a machine gun premium squad is significantly higher than what you're going to find in almost any other premium squad that isn't a vehicle. And that's because riflemen and assaulters tend to lose their value very quickly. The assaulters will maintain their value until you max out the tech tree, but once you can make full assault squads just do what they do better, and you'll have competitive weapons. Riflemen get outpaced really quickly because they're riflemen. Even if you open up their second gun slot, that can only carry them so far. But with a machine gun squad, they're resistant to power creep because the only way in the game right now to get 5 machine guns in a squad is with a premium machine gun squad. So they do something that nobody else can do, and having 5 machine guns is a tremendous amount of firepower. You can get close with paratroopers because they can get 3 machine guns in a squad, and usually you're going to give them all automatic weapons, or usually they're going to come with all automatic weapons to begin with, so they can put down a lot of firepower, and they're very versatile, and so that does give them an edge. To some extent, it's the same with the half-track squads, because they can spawn people, and you can bring 3 guys with assault weapons and 2 guys with light machine guns. So, again, you can put down a lot of firepower, but the assault weapon firepower is going to be used primarily at closer ranges, where the light machine guns, they can flex very well between attacking and defending. They're really, really good when you're defending, especially if the other team has to cross open areas, or if they're not really pushing particularly hard. But even if you need to attack, they're great at clearing buildings because of how much ammo they have in a belt, with these DPs in particular, and because of their quick reload. But the TLDR here is machine gun squads are very, very high value premium squads because they do something that is not done by any other squad. Now, in addition to that, they have an engineer, they're a machine gun squad, they can build the heavy machine gun. Very powerful. They also carry around these machine guns, which I think perform very well. The fire rate, you might argue, is a little bit low. I think it's at the sweet spot for me. I really like machine guns that shoot between like 600 and 800 rounds a minute. I'd be a little bit happier if they were closer to 700, but for a 100 round belt, they feel very economical with their ammo, and you have no problem just holding down locations that you know the enemy has to cross. Like, there's going to be a clip in here where we were attacking the train bridge near Berlin, and I basically just laid on the train tracks and shot everybody who wanted to get on top of the train tracks with us. They're excellent at holding choke points. I highly recommend them. So let's also look at their perk layout and their loadouts. So I guess we'll start with the loadouts first. I was running them with what they came with, which are large backpacks, but I plan on swapping all of the machine gunners to have large ammo packs. There were just a lot of situations that I would get into where I felt like I wanted more ammo, and I don't necessarily think that the med packs were giving me that much benefit. I still would keep the large backpack with the med packs on the engineer, but that's just because I want to keep him alive long enough to build the important engineer structures with him. Other than that, everybody has a pistol. I cheaped out on them. They have Nagant revolvers. I gave them all AP mines, they all came with explosive packs, and they all have flasks, so nothing too exciting. The way that they look, they actually look kind of cool. They have these, like, camo smocks, with hoods. They look a little bit odd because I think the way that they're hemmed, just looks kind of uncomfortably tight in certain areas, but, If I had the choice between going into battle in the standard Russian kit or wearing one of these camo smocks, I would definitely wear the camo smock. It definitely helps out a little bit. Looking at their perks, though, they are 16 mobility, 18 vitality, 23 weapon handling. I have them kitted out to have 1 point in their weapon changing speed, 2 points in vertical recoil, 1 point in horizontal recoil. They have vitality, reduced head shaking. Their standard perk that they all come with is health restored by med pack. And then I have 2 points in run speed, 2 points in med pack usage speed, and then 2 in movement while crawling, 1 in speed of changing pose, and 1 in extinguishing fire. And that's how I have everybody in the squad set up. It works for me. You probably do have some other choices. You could take reload speed and more vertical recoil instead of the horizontal. I think 17 horizontal recoil is relatively high though, so I think it's beneficial to have the horizontal reduction. But you can test it out. Your mileage may vary. I think vitality is a must-take. Mind you, I haven't reset their perks, so this is what they came with plus some tweaks that I did. I like medpack usage speed. I wouldn't mind having another point in there, but most of the points that are holding everything else up are in mobility. I have 4 points there, and then I've got 1 point in weapon and 1 point in vitality, so I literally just don't have the points to spare otherwise. I'd have to give up something like vertical recoil, and I'd rather have vertical recoil. But yes, generally speaking, I think they are a fantastic squad. I think a lot of what I mentioned in the other MG42 video is still relevant with these guys. The only real change between the two is the gun, and these guys have 1 fewer engineer. That being said, if you were to compare them to the other premium quote-unquote machine gun squad for Russia, which I don't have, and so I didn't really cover them a whole lot in this video, the Fedorov MG, they have 1 more engineer. I just don't think that the Fedorov MG is, like, that great. They're basically a glorified assault squad. They can build the heavy machine gun. It is what it is. Anyway, this isn't really a video about them. In the future, if I end up picking them up in like another sale, I'll make a video about them. But compared to what's already readily available in the tech tree, I think the DP is a fantastic weapon. I think it competes very strongly with the RD-44. They just kind of fill different niches. And even though the standard tech tree machine gun team is going to have more specialists, I think you make up for those specialists with your extra firepower, since all 5 of your members of the DP have, you know, the DP belt-fed machine gun. So let me know down below if you guys have the belt-fed DP, if you like it. Let me know if you prefer some of the tech tree machine guns. And actually, let me know if you're somebody who has the Fedorov MG, and now that it no longer sits in Moscow, let me know how it's doing these days. Part of it, to me, why I dislike it is because of how clunky it looks with the massive bipod. And part of it's because there are just so many other squads that I can put Fedorovs on that I would rather just put tech tree Fedorovs on. But if you have them and you like them, let me know why. I would love to know. As per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.